When I bought my house, one of the many things I loved about it was that the laundry had been brought up from the basement to the second bedroom. The room was too big to waste all that space for just laundry, so I used it for my sewing room as well, and it worked out perfectly for the first 4 years. The paint color I chose was not exactly what I was going for, but I dealt with it since it was just to be used for my sewing and laundry. Every time my crafting sewing needs changed, I rearranged the sewing room to meet those needs until January 2024. I went through every single drawer, box, and bag, found stuff I forgot about decades ago. It felt so good to get everything cleaned and organized. For the most part, I pretty much keep things in pretty good shape and even had my drawers labeled. But one thing that I just never dared to tackle was my boxes of fabric. I went through every single piece of fabric and refolded or clipped organized all of it. I got to thinking, how did I ever accumulate so much fabric? I accumulated all that fabric over decades, 5 to be exact. I have sewn my entire life, and I pretty much had all the fabric scraps I've ever used since the 70s. I also found some old photo fabric from when it first came out and thought, I'm going to make a quilt to use up all that fabric and photo fabric. I could make more space in my sewing room and gain a quilt, right? About 4 quilts in, I started loving it. I made a quilt in the 70s and wasn't interested in ever making another one. Then in 2001, I made another. I wasn't much happier with the process. I didn't even completely finish it, but somehow this time was different. Maybe because so much in the quilting world has changed since I made those first 2 quilts, but I was really, really enjoying it. Now I'm facing a new dilemma. My sewing room is much too small for quilting. Sure, you can get by using small spaces, but to enjoy the process and to really flex your artistic quilting muscles, there are things you need that there was just no space for in this room, like a design wall. Ooh, I think I really want a design wall. Did I want to set it up in the basement? That's a big no. I didn't even want to go down there to do the laundry. I sure don't want to go down there to spend my days. One night I was sleeping and my eyes popped open and my mind started whirling. I spend 8 to 10 hours or longer a day in my sewing room, and I spend 7 hours a night looking at the back of my eyelids in a much bigger room. Maybe I need to consider swapping the 2 rooms. I spent over a week mulling over the idea of swapping the rooms. I didn't really care about having a smaller bedroom or closet, though the sewing room closet was every bit as big as the master bedroom closet. I wasn't sure I wanted to have a washer and dryer in my bedroom. That just seemed wrong somehow. I spent days playing devil's advocate. Do you really want the washer and dryer in your room? Well, why do I care where it is? I don't wash and dry while I'm sleeping. I don't spend any time in my room other than to sleep. Do I really want to sacrifice having my chandelier that I bought specifically for Pretty Bedroom? I don't really even have to. I put the one up in the bedroom, I could move it to the laundry room. But then again, I really never use the chandelier in my bedroom because I never use overhead lights. I always use lamps except in my sewing room. Okay, it's starting to make perfect sense to do this. So, without allowing another moment to second guess myself, I took the leap. I told myself this is just a trial run, and in October I will reassess and make it permanent or switch back. That was over a year and a half ago, and I'm still happy I did it. I actually sleep better in the back of the house, and having the laundry in my room is fantastic. My drawers are in the base of my bed, and I sit on the floor between the dryer and the bed and fold my clothes straight from the dryer to the drawer without a basket. It is so convenient, and honestly, it doesn't look that bad. I'm not even the kind of person that can deal very well with unconventional setups. but this is perfectly fine for me. It works, and now I have the space I need for my design wall, quilting frame, and everything else I need for quilting. And I use my chandelier, and it looks just lovely in my sewing room. I even had enough space to bring up an extra table I had in the basement and cut a hole in it for my sewing machine to sit down in for when I need to quilt off my frame.